Ati tuwa gbe o, tuwa gbe, gbe yo yo yo, gbe yo yo yo, tuwa o, ni mo, gbe yo yo yo, no be no ba na ba ko no be ka no nya le ka, ya gbe la ja ko, no la be yo, ka le bu yo yo, no nya gbe ye ye, a ko gbe, no be ba da na ko ja yo, ka ja ko, to la. Bí a bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti wá pé tó láhàn, ọdún bí bí wọ́n lè sàn. Káyọ̀dé ẹ̀yọ̀, káyọ̀dé ẹ̀yọ̀, káyọ̀dé ẹ̀yọ̀ mú àwọn káyọ̀dé ẹ̀yọ̀. Bọ́dọ̀ bá bọ̀dọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn àwọn yóò jábọ̀ mọ̀ mọ́ ọ̀wé àtó, àtó bí a máa fẹ́ ọmọ pé pé yóò, mo yí bọ̀ àwọn yóò wá pé àwọn. Ọmọ bí bí ọjà ó sàn bí ẹ, sọ́sì ara pẹ̀lú ẹ̀wọ̀n, pẹ̀lú àtó. Ìjà ìjà tó rú ẹ̀ sọ́sì àti àná bọ́kúra mẹ́wọ́. Wala ẹ̀ máa o, ìwé yo, ìwé yo dẹ́gbà mú o, ìwé yo. Òwe tó gbé gbé, mo ń dẹ́gbẹ̀ bá fo, lọ́dẹ̀ dẹ́gbẹ̀ bá fún o, àmọ́ sàmúlẹ̀ gbà o, àmọ́ àdẹ́gbẹ̀ bá fo. Lábẹ́ yìí, kàdébù yìí, káyọ̀dé yà yìí, káyọ̀dé yà yìí.
Good evening, folks. Samson told Liberia Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again this evening for joining us. We appreciate it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful weekend, of course. Please, we ask you to stay safe out there. Safety, Lord Jesus, we want to thank you again this evening for bringing us back together here. Lord, we ask you to continue to bless us. Lord, we want to thank you for your blessing. We want to thank you for the protection that you continue to provide for us. Lord, the diseases are still out there, and we're doing the best we can. Lord Jesus, we ask you, without your protection, that is, we're going nowhere. In fact, without your promotion, we're going nowhere as well, my Lord, because you're the only person who can help us to live. And I want to thank you. Lord Jesus, you know we have two families. Back here in the diaspora, we have family back home as well. And we'll continue to provide for the two tables because of the opportunity that you have provided for us. And we will do what it is that you want us to do. And we ask you, my Lord, to bless our country, Republic of Liberia, to bless the leaders of the Republic of Liberia. Lord, we ask you to give them wisdom to do what is good for our people. We ask you, my Lord, to bless the United States of America, the host country for all of us as a diaspora. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, folks. Again, get ready. I don't know if I should continue to call what I should call him Professor. But Mr. Nyanue is going to be my guest here again tonight. And he's always giving us some wonderful information. I can never get tired having a conversation with Mr. Nyanue. As you know, Mr. Nyanue contested in the 2020 senatorial election from Grand GEDEH County. Of course, he didn't win, but overall, I thought that he was able to carry himself. Of course, I'm biased in this case because I'm a strong supporter of Mr. Nyanue, so you can accuse me of being biased. That's okay. I don't mind that, but I'm just being very truthful. After he carried himself well, and after the election, now he wants to talk to his people. And we're going to be prying a lot of stuff out of Mr. Nyanue tonight. Mr. Nyanue, are you with us? Not yet. I don't. Okay. Yes, I see Mr. Nyanue. I see Mr. Nyanue. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Nyanue on. He was here the last time. Let's bring him on, folks. This is Mr. Nyanue. Mr. Nyanue, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not too sure if we need any introduction at this point. Is there any opening statement you want to make before we go through the process of the conversation?
I just want to say thank you for having me back on your show. I know this is an opportunity to talk about serious issues, and every time I'm on your show, I kind of cherish it. So thank you for having me back.
Thank you, Mr. Nyanue. We appreciate it, and so we will do the best here tonight. I know there's been a series of issues that have been coming out of Grand GEDEH. And first of all, how are you and the family doing anyhow?
Oh, we're doing fine.
Okay.
We're grateful. God is good to us. We're doing fine.
Thank you. And the Lord, the good Lord, has always been good to all of us. Did I say that? No. Okay. Well, whatever. This is not. Give me a minute. But then again, who's going to complain to Blaku? Who's going to complain to Blaku? I like to see that. I like to say Blaku. Well, I complain. Ain't nobody going to complain to Blaku. But no, Mr. Nyanue, thank you very much. I know you and I have the conversation here about what you wanted to achieve tonight. And as you know, we are strong supporter. I am a strong supporter of you. And not only that, I'm a very good brother and friend to you, of course. And we've been a long way, been collaborating on a lot of issues, a lot of stuff. And I've always found it interesting. Even if I talked to you 2 minutes ago, I still want to talk to you now because of some of the topics and some of the discussion that comes out of you. So tonight, what exactly are you trying to achieve here tonight?
There are two things I want to talk about, Samson. One is I'm getting ready to return to Liberia in the next, maybe month or so. So I'm going to be traveling to Philadelphia this weekend. I'm going to be meeting with family and friends there. But also, I like to use the opportunity to meet with our people who sacrificed to support us during the last election and who are in the Philadelphia, Delaware, New Jersey area in New York. I just like to meet with them so we have a face-to-face where I can say thank you to them. I know we have supporters from other parts of the U.S., those I will meet with maybe in a teleconference or Zoom meeting to say thank you. So that's one of the first things I want to do. Then, as you know, there was an incident in Grand GEDEH recently concerning Senator Peno and the audio that was leaked. I issued a press release concerning that audio. And so I want to talk a little bit more about that tonight. So those are two things I really want to talk about. And whatever else you have that you may want to talk about, that would be fine.
Thank you. Yeah, we will go into the audio very shortly here. But I was in Philadelphia this gone weekend, of course, and Mr. Bali was telling me that you were going to be coming over there. Now, your supporters that you're going to meet, and I don't want you to preempt right now, so in case I don't know what I said, but nothing secret anyway. What are some of the things that you're going to say to them, if you don't mind talking to us now? Because the reason I'm asking you, there were other people who supported you, and they are not in Philadelphia, and I think perhaps might want to use this opportunity to talk to those brothers and sisters who are not in Philadelphia, who are listening to you right now. And since you're going over there to talk to your supporters in Philadelphia, I was just wondering if you care to address the brothers and sisters that might not be at that gathering in Philadelphia.
There are a few things I would like to that I will be saying to the group over there. The first thing is just really to say thank you, because like I've always said, I was really pleasantly surprised by the outpouring of support we got. And I mean, I've been in the US for some time, so I know how things work here. So I know that the support that I got was sacrificial. People really made sacrifices to support me. And I want to really just say thank you. So that's the first thing I want to do. So Sophie, my wife, has been working with the women in Philadelphia, and we're going to have a cookout, have something to eat together, something to drink, and then say thank you. That's the first thing that I want to do. The second thing that I want to do is just to encourage our people. I think a lot of us, people were disappointed that we didn't win. But I'm going to be telling them that the thing we want in Grand GEDEH, yes, my victory would have been a catalyst for a lot of the things that we want. But the things we want in Grand GEDEH, we should never give up on them. That is a message I really want to send to our people. We cannot give up on them. And we Grand GEDEHs in the diaspora cannot be energized when something bad is happening to Grand GEDEH. Say, because I know during the war, we were all, up in arms here and we were doing this and we were doing that. I want to tell our people here that, yes, there is no war, but Grand GEDEH is not well. And we in the diaspora, we need to be heard. Yes, we will rally and send, humanitarian supplies and things to Grand GEDEH, but Grand GEDEH's future lies in capable people leading Grand GEDEH. And we in the diaspora must be heard all the time saying that. So that's the second thing that I want to talk to our people about. And since I came back in December, Samson, this one question has been lingering in the air. So what's next? And I'd like to have a little conversation about that. So those are the three things that.
So let me push back on that and ask you, what next?
Yeah, that is the thing. So, what I would like to do in this Philadelphia conversation is to listen. I like to hear what people's thoughts are as to what's next, right? So I'm not going to be the one to say, this is what I want us to do. I like to hear where people think we should go. I like to hear you, for example, say, where do you think we should go? Because the thing is that, and that's the point I want to make something. This is not about a Nyanue thing. And I think people who, particularly back home in Liberia, who thought this whole effort was about just making Nyanue senator, I think they missed the boat. This whole thing is about making Grand GEDEH a better place. And whether it's Nyanue today or Samson tomorrow or, somebody else tomorrow, we have to keep at it until Grand GEDEH becomes competitive and better. So, I want it to be a team effort. That's why I'm going to be listening more on this issue than doing the talking.
So thank you for that. Let me ask you this, Mr. Nyanue. You were heavily involved during the campaign, of course, and you were not successful. I think I asked a similar question like that before, but this time I'll go to a different route. You think you were defeated based on by ideas or based on the fact that Mr. Peno, because this was the competition, I know you must have heard Mr. Peno one or two times explaining himself. So you think you were defeated because Mr. Peno had a good message that Grand GEDEHs gravitate towards? Or you, and not just you and the rest of the people were defeated because Mr. Peno had a better message that Grand GEDEHs were gravitating towards?
The reality is, Samson, I never heard Mr. Peno. I never heard his ideas. There was a debate. He didn't show up. I never heard him on the radio. I never heard him in any gathering. I never heard his message. I never heard his vision. So I don't know the basis of his victory. But that is water under the bridge. We've passed that stage. The election is over. Whatever he did resonated with enough people for him to have gotten the vote. So I think that is under the bridge. Now we have to look forward. The vision I had, I articulated that vision, I wrote it down. It's everywhere in Grand GEDEH. So I like to look forward.
Do you think, and perhaps this might sound corny here, but I'll do my best to make it sound beautiful because it's coming from a total man anyway. Do you think your message, the fact that it was written in English, Do you think if we had a Crown written language and your message was written in Crown, where everyone, it's different for people to read it themselves than you saying it. For me, so do you think if we had a dialect, a written communication part in Brangida County among the Crown people, you think that would have made a difference?
I don't know. I mean, certainly it would, it would have been beneficial because say when we got in towns and we had town hall meetings and we distributed the platform, I always said, those of your children who can read, I'm asking them to read this thing to you, right? So there'll be a lot of people. There were a lot of people who couldn't read. So certainly, if there were a written Crown language that the majority or all of our people could read, certainly it would have helped because then they would not have needed someone to read it to them. So I mean, I don't know if that alone would have changed the outcome of the election because I don't think the election was won on vision and ideas. I don't think that's what happened. I think there were other considerations. It was not about vision and idea because
Sasha, what do you think? What are some of the, from your own perspective, what are some of the consideration that perhaps Grand Gideon was taking into account in voting, giving their voting life card to somebody to be a senator for 9 years?
Well, one of the things that you said during the campaign was after I had gone through several towns and I talked to a lot of people, it occurred to me that I thought a lot of people didn't seem, and I could be wrong, didn't seem to grasp the magnitude of the task that was before them. Right? Because I know sometimes when I talk, and then I said, I would say to them, the result you're going to get is going to be with you for at least 9 years. And then they will say, so I think that there were people who, on that level, to say just the longevity of the whole exercise that is going to last 9 years. But then there were other people who simply said, so what? Because when these people win anyway, my life is still the same. Not, they don't change anything. So if I can get a few dollars out of this exercise, maybe I should get it. Because nothing is going to be different anyway. So I think there were several reasons for people making the decision that they made. And I think this question of, so what's next? Those are the questions we need to answer. What happened?
You care to scoot a little bit to your right because yeah, we go. Yeah, so at least we'll be in center. Okay, right there. You're back into that position again. You got to scoot it.
No, I'm coming.
Okay. Again, folks, I am this evening talking with Mr. Nyanue, former senatorial candidate for Grand Gede County. Not successful, of course. And that's why if he was successful, we won't be talking to him now. We'll be talking to him through the Capitol building. And I hope. But Mr. Nyanue, let me, like I said, I'm one of your strongest supporter. So I was deeply hurt, to be honest with you. But then again, you always say, even before that, even in our own GEDEH diaspora community elections, you always stress these are just competition of ideas. And so they are nothing to take personal. And even in this one, in as much as some of us was really hurt, and you continue to say these are nothing personal, these are elections. And anybody, they feel, whatever they feel, that's what they did. So, but let me ask you as Grand Gideon, let's, and I know you have the ability to compartmentalize a lot of things, so I'm not that concerned. So if I say, can you remove yourself from the former senatorial candidate and someone who is a Grand Gideon? And I also want, which is not that much difficult, I mean, it's difficult, but I will ask you anyway, also to reduce your intellectual level. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm going to ask anyway. I'm going to ask anyway. So I'm trying for you to see if you can bring yourself to people like Samson, to just coming from one place in the village, and the fact that there's an election coming, and now the election is over. If you were sitting in Grand GEDEH with that kinds of ability, not where you are now, but at a very low level, not uneducated, but someone who perhaps these things don't come by very easily, what will be your reaction by now? Are you in a regretting more, or do you say just what you said? Well, these people, whether they win or not, my life's still gonna survive. Is that the kinds of mentality that perhaps you will find yourself in?
You know, something I was trying to write my second book, and then when the election thing came in, it interrupted that process. So I put the manuscript on hold. I've completed the manuscript yesterday, not last night. And I sent it to a few of my friends to review. So hopefully I will get comments from them before I go back to Liberia, because I'm thinking of publishing the book sometime next year. But that was one of the questions that I discussed in the book. How do you win election in Liberia? And from my experience, you know, I'm not in regret mode, because like I said in the manuscript, one thing that the election did for me, it gave me a better and further understanding of the challenges we have in Liberia. Because our people are not stupid. They are rational people. They are intelligent people. We may not agree with the decisions they make, but the decisions are rational. They have their reasons for doing that. So no, I'm not going to regret. And that's what I'm telling our people. Those over here in the diaspora, try to understand our people, right? I mean,
Well, Mr. Nyanue, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt. When you said that, then for me, and perhaps I'm being naive, but for me to say, okay, for example, I can see clearly that perhaps, yeah, you don't have the magic wine to make Grand GEDEH better in 10, 15 days, but I know who you are, and I know your capabilities. And I also been fathering Senator Bennu when he was in the representative. For what, 10 years or more? What was some of the things beneficial to Grand GEDEHs under his leadership?
So
I can see it. So
yeah.
my thing is, if for you to say that we have to understand their position, then it's difficult. Because if I say to myself, not only because I was supporting you, but even if I wasn't supporting you, I know very well that you will do much, much better. So now, why would these people? Is it because our understanding of how life is totally different because we live in different worlds? Is it our thing? Is our fault? Those of us that live here in the diaspora and see the true democracy, what people vote, and even here today are stupid sometimes, but what people vote based on issues. And if I see people back there voting because of copper rice, because of bathing tub, and all those kinds of stuff, do you think I'm wrong to say you guys are wasting your vote?
I think in a way I would. I mean, I wouldn't say it that way. I wouldn't say, you know, you're wrong for wasting your vote. But here's how I think about it. Here's how I'm asking you and others to think about it. You know, when I went to a lot of these towns and I saw the young people, they reminded me of me when I was growing up. You know, no shoes, you in the town, you know, very young people. So I want you to picture yourself back in Town or Zwaya or, you know, Chancellor or any of those towns in the Baza and BI area. Your universe is that town and the nearby towns. And you've been in this election thing now, how many cycles? 3, 4, 5 cycles. And then, you know, William Nyanue show up. You didn't know William Nyanue for anybody. I mean, now, you know, on this show, you can say, I know you. But let's assume you didn't know me. And I got into town and I share my vision with you. I tell you where Grand GEDEH is today and why Grand GEDEH is in that place and what we need to do to move it to a better place. I would think that it is not unreasonable. It would not be unreasonable for you to think, but who is this man? Why should I believe him? Right? Maybe he's a sweet talker like everybody else. And in as much as I said, check me out. You have relatives in the US where I've been. You have relatives in Monrovia, people that I've worked with. Check me out. How many persons you think would check me out? No, they were not. So I'm saying, if the people knew me like you know me, you know, I think there would have been no competition. But it's that process that we need to go through so that people feel comfortable with you and they realize you are who you say you are. That is a challenge we have. So they might say, the other mayor to everybody else, maybe I'll settle for my few cups of rice, right? Because because what I heard, Samson, was that, look, it doesn't matter how much sacrifice or sacrifices we bear for these people. When they win, that's it. We don't see them again. And nothing happens here. So why will you be different? That's a legitimate question. You know, and I think we need to take time to give people reason to believe that we are different, that Grand GEDEH is in a bad place, but that Grand GEDEH could be in a better place. That's the patience we need to have, and that is the work we need to do.
Okay, it's a tough pill to swallow, to be honest with you, because I can see that one of these people leadership. I don't see any kinds of changes, and what really bothers me about these people, when I mean people, I mean the leadership. What really bothers me about them is that these people have traveled as well. They have gained knowledge from outside of Grand GEDEH, but yet still they sit there, and some of them, I'm not even too sure if they have offices in Grand GEDEH County. I'm not too sure if they even understand that when they're driving back to Grand GEDEH, the roads are bad. Do they understand what effect that has on our people? And this is where I get frustrated. And I thought within myself, but as you eloquently put it, I just have to accept it. I believe and saying to myself, these people, they are our brothers and sisters. The Senator Peno, the Representative Bole, Dr. Bole, Representative Grant, Mr. Honorable Marshall Dennis. These are our own brothers. They also grew up in the villages. There's no question asked. But why were they now saying and nothing, being sitting in a position and nothing is doing? I don't see it. Maybe there's something they're doing that many of us don't know about, or I don't know about. And so but I understand your position. I understand your position.
But here's the thing, though, Samson.
Yes, go ahead.
This is what I want us, that, you know, this trip I'm going to Philadelphia this weekend, like I said, that was the second thing that I want to talk about. What is the conversation that is being had in Grand GEDEH and in Liberia? Because this thing you're talking about traveling is not just Grand GEDEH legislators and Grand GEDEH leaders. Liberian leaders travel, right? They travel. The ministers and everybody travels, you know, and they come. You go to these countries and then they go back to Liberia, and they should be able to compare Liberia today with the countries that they travel to, and there's no comparison. So does it not bother them too? But here's what I'm saying, because in the case of Grand GEDEH, what is the conversation that is being had? This conversation we have it only around election time. After election, then everybody shut up. See, and this is what I will not accept. And that was why when Mr. Penu's audio came out, I had to speak up. And that's what I intend to do. Because the issues that I campaign on were not just issues that I came onto campaign time, right? These are issues that I've given deep thought to, that I've talked about over the years, and I will continue to talk about them. The issue that I talk about, transparency, if you look at the press release that I issue, Mr. Penu's audio is one issue. The county leadership needs to be accountable. They need to. And I'm not waiting for 2023 or 2029 or another election to talk about. I'm going to talk about them. In that press release, I made certain requests, right? They lease out the county equipment. We need to know, we need to get to the bottom of that. And I'm going to speak on this issue until there's a resolution. I'm going to Liberia. I'm going to Grand GEDEH. I'll be in Zwedru. Any opportunity that I get, I'm going to speak about this issue. And that's what we need to do from the diaspora. It's not just about getting a humanitarian supply. It's also making Grand GEDEH a better place in terms of management. So they must hear from us. Unfortunately, the voice of the people of Grand GEDEH in the diaspora doesn't seem concerned about these things. The Grand GEDEH Association, I haven't read anything about it. All of the things that have been happening in Grand GEDEH, the GGAD, I haven't read and see anything, and we cannot just talk when very bad things are happening to Crown people or to Grand GEDEHs. We need to talk when our own people are mismanaging our resources and our people are suffering. The people of Grand GEDEH in America should be heard, and their organization must speak on their behalf. So that's what I'm saying. The Grand GEDEH Association in America should be talking about this equipment thing. The streets, the roads in Grand GEDEH are terrible. And then whoever it is leasing out the equipment to go to sign up. How is that acceptable? And how is it that we're not talking about it? So that's what I'm saying. We need to have a different conversation in Grand GEDEH. And we cannot have that conversation only around election time. And I understand some of our people back there, like I said in our release, are concerned, especially when they have jobs in government. Because as soon as they open their mouths, then people are beginning to lobby so they can fire them. There are friends I have in Grand GEDEH that I never saw during the campaign because they were so afraid that even just standing with me will cause some of these, short-sighted, narrow-minded people to start lobbying for their dismissal. We got to change it.
Okay, before we go on, folks, Samson told Liberian Public Radio, I'm my guest tonight again. Once again, this is Mr. Nyanue, who is a former senatorial candidate for Grand GEDEH County, also a professional engineer here in the United States, practiced engineer for years and years here in the United States. But let me before we go on, let me ask you one other question about this one. Is going to be general in terms of Liberia. So what is happening in Grand GEDEH County? Are you also suggesting that this perhaps is not unique to Grand GEDEH, that this is most likely to be a nationwide issue? Is that what you're suggesting, sir?
In some respects. I was talking to someone in government about the leaked video, audio. And the person said to me, he said, I don't blame Mr. Penu. He said, I blame your people. He said, can they not see what is happening in other counties? That was his question. So in a way, there are things that are with us that are not exactly the same as in other counties. People in Lofa, people in Bon, even people in Sino. they seem to hold their people more accountable than we do. And maybe the culture, the political culture in those counties, maybe it's not exactly the same as the one in Grand GEDEH. So in those places, they got more people talking than in Grand GEDEH. Grand GEDEH, the people who talk most of the time are young people, who may not support the people who are in power. So on, in that light, it's a little different, but in other respect, it's the same. I mean, like I was saying, which government official doesn't travel? They all travel, right? Just like our own people. And they go to Liberia, and look at Liberia today. So in that respect, then it's national, right? So, I mean, I'm saying in some respect it's the same, and other is a little different.
Okay, let me try to play the audio. I'm not going to play the entire stuff because there's a lot of conversation that is happening. If anybody wants to listen to it, it's out there in the social media sphere. But let me play the audio, specifically Mr. Peno, when he started talking about this, and then you and I can go at the end of that. We can talk about it. So let's. I hope I will be successful here.
Well, when the man told me I was in the bathroom, and when I see my son,
can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
When you are explaining that what are you nothing, I hold your phone went through. If I wanted you to say I want to call back into that show. And you understand? Because the first thing I don't have my word. I told you and I told everybody go ahead. Person I share. I told you that as long as the running for this radio station finish election in Tosa with Nyanue, I'm not protected there. I want somebody to protect me as a politician. I told you play there. I didn't record it. And then you go and play it. You say you want somebody that was protected as a politician. And I run there and say, that shows. And you understand? So, for me, I do not have that problem. I told you the last time, the reason is because you don't trust them. You don't trust them as a manager for the radio station, you are behind Nyanue throughout. Nobody is at least like telling a reporter. The first time Nyanue went to Basel, while Betty is not out there, the PR of Nyanue. So for me, I told you, I'm going to you, as long as you know, that radio station, anything I have to do with you, anybody to inspire them, I will not put it in security and give it to me. I told you from the beginning. So when they're talking, we tell you to know any night when to inspire them. I hear myself talking.
Okay, I think that's enough. We know the rest of the story. But Mr. Nyanue, you have heard this audio before anyway. What first of all, let me ask you this. Even though you are not a elected politician in Grand GEDEH County, but you participated in it, was it unsafe that Mr. Peno will want protection? And if it is safe, what kinds of protection you think? I know it's difficult to surmise what Mr. Peno is talking about, but was it unsafe when you guys were doing this campaigning?
No, I wouldn't say that's the kind of protection he was talking about. I don't think it was physical protection. I think what he meant someone who will be there and kind of be his propaganda piece, right? Who will perhaps, give him an unfair advantage over other people in terms of how the station is being utilized. And when I listen, quite a few things surprised me during the election, Samson, and this was one of them. This one is after the election. But there were things that I heard and I said to myself, how can responsible people say the things that they say? It just blows my mind. Because listen to the man, what he said. He said, you can recall me and play
And they say, Zoe say he wants somebody to protect his interest, and let it tell me as a politician, let it tell me if I'm wrong. So in his mind, what he was saying, he said, I don't even like, you say, I say, I can't have my part of things. So what he was saying in his mind, he felt that it was correct. He felt that it was correct. And that thinking is the problem in Grand GEDEH. That this man can think that having someone in a public institution to protect his political interests is correct. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the problem. And that's what I want people to understand. He said you go to Zlatan and Solo or my PRO. Who will come from Zlatan and say they met on my PRO? I didn't even go to Zlatan from Zwedru. I went to Zlatan from Bison. So Solo could not have been my PRO because he didn't go with me to Bison. How could he be? But just the thinking, the mindset that say I can use government and I can use public resources to my political advantage is the disease that is killing Liberia. Because during the election, I mean, I didn't say a lot of this stuff during the election because I didn't have the evidence that I needed, like this audio. Because there were people that Zoe went after during the election to fire them because they were supporting me. And they'll come to me and tell me. Right? And like I said in that press release, there are graduates today qualified with college degree that can get public sector employment today because of this kind of thinking. That if somebody doesn't agree with you, if somebody doesn't support you, he becomes your enemy and you want to destroy him. I went to Bo in one of the towns. I don't remember now, Zamin town or one of those towns. And there was a lady that got up and said, Mr. Nyanue, he said, in this place, when you and your friend fight and you knock them down, then you get up. But he said, well, they don't do that here. They keep their foot on you. It's like until you die. And I know when he said that, when she said that, I knew what she meant. Because William Kai ran from that area. He lost the election. And they know what Kai is going through in Liberia today. This is what is keeping Grand GEDEH down. People are afraid to compete. They are afraid to compete. They're afraid to compete with ideas. So what they do is to intimidate people, to make people scared, so they can't talk. And like I said in that press release, everybody who went through the election know that I didn't even do all the way my people were saying, Mr. Nyanue, we have to do public relations here and that. I didn't do a lot of that. I think I went to Smart. I think I had 2 interviews at Smart. 2 English interviews, 1 English interview before the election and 1 after the election. Then on the Crown program, I may have done 2 or 3. I went to Tap FM. I also did an interview there. That was the extent of my public relations stuff. But it's this whole thinking that because I am in power, I will use the leverage of government to destroy people. Is what's keeping Grand GEDEH down, and in a way, it's a virus that is in Liberia.
Okay, Mr. Nyanue, I mean, I don't know what his solution would be, but we'll continue to try, because quite recently on LPR here, we had a surprise guest, Mr. I could say Mayor Jefferson Kochi was on here, and he was very truthful with us that there are so many challenges in Liberia. That and for this government, I think the challenges are just too much to take on at once. And that he said that it would be better if people who have knowledge would try to join and help to alleviate some of these problems. But if you have audio like this, and this is not unique, I mean, this is not some kind of a secret audio now. I'm sure people in hierarchy of CDC or in government have heard this. Even some members of the Senate, most likely have heard this. Why is it up to this time we have not heard any kinds of condemnation or distancing himself for this from this kinds of statement to say a name protection? If you do it here, any other place, you're asking for true impeachment. But then again, this is in Grand GEDEH. So the question that I have for you, with this kinds of audio out there, and you're going to be going to Grand GEDEH very shortly, do you intend to engage Senator Pennell on this type of stuff?
You know, I've reacted to the audio. The implications from the audio is something that I will talk about for a long time, right? What is implied in what he said? Like I said tonight, just that thinking that as a politician, I'm going to use government's resources and government's institutions to protect me. Is that thinking that I'm going to talk about a lot? Because I think that is the underlying disease for the thing that we are going through. And I empathize with people who are in the media and some people who are even working in government. Because this is the kind of thing, it serves to muscle them to close their mouths because they're afraid. And we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it here. We have to talk about it there. But I'm not going to talk about it like, there's election season and we are campaigning. No, I'm going to talk about it as a disease, as a virus that we all need to take care of. And we need to take care of it as Grand GEDEH. It must not be acceptable. So I'm saying it must not be. The Grand GEDEH Association in America should say this is unacceptable. The Grand GEDEH Association must hold Mr. Pennell, Senator Dennis, and all of our leaders accountable to deliver. At the end of the year, the Grand GEDEH Association, GGADU, all the Grand GEDEH outlets in the diaspora must grade these people on their performances.
Mr. Nyanue, do you, I don't mean to interrupt. Do you think these people care for, and I've heard Zoe Pennell or other people have called us poo-poo cleaner, excuse the language, but other Grand GEDEH have no, our brothers and sisters back home, from my perspective, have no respect for us. So do you think by us coming out and say, this is unacceptable, and this person is not doing this and that, you think, do they really care?
Well,
does it move anything?
No, they do care. Here is the temptation I think we should avoid. We don't get personal. There's nothing between Senator Pennell and myself. I don't think the young man, the interesting thing, he went to the election commission to file his papers. I got there before him. And I was sitting with the ladies and they were going through my papers, and then he entered and he sat in the chair opposite me. And he brought his papers. I think he carried his papers before, but something was missing, so he brought it. And he sat in there. We sat there for a few seconds, and then I spoke to him. I said, hello. And then he responded. I mean, I don't remember exactly what I said next. But then he said, who are you?
Oh, so that means he didn't even know who you were.
He didn't know me. So I said, I'm Mr. Nyanue. I said, I'm Mr. Nyanue. I said, I'm William Nyanue. Then he said, oh. So there's nothing personal between the man and myself. We don't know each other for anything to be personal. And that's why I was saying during the election, there's nothing personal between him or anybody else than myself. Because my dealings are not personal. So I think that is the thing the temptation we in the diaspora have to stay away from. If Senator Pennell should do something that is beneficial to Grand GEDEH, we must support him. We must say thank you. When Dr. Bole spoke up against the one of the acts they passed a few months back on free education, I sent him a text. I said, Dad, your presentation made me proud. And thank you. I still got a text on his response and my text on my phone. He wrote me back and said, thank you. For me, there's nothing personal. I am just saying Grand GEDEH is behind because of poor leadership. And I'm hoping that my articulation will provoke people to action. That's what my whole thing is about.
So Mr. Nyanue, let me throw a few names out there that are just as qualified as you are, who has been, who is also highly educated, just like you, and they're there. We have Charles Breeze, and there could be many more that I don't know, but we have people like Charles Breeze. He's there in Grand GEDEH County. We have, until election time, you don't hear much from Honorable Yaya Nimla either. You have Dr. Bole, who is also in the House of Representatives, and many, many other Grand GEDEans who are residing in Grand GEDEH County that are educated. Do you think they're accepting these kinds of behavior because they have no other place to turn, or because they just say, I'm too old for this, I'm not even going to be involved anymore?
You know, Samson, I don't like to second guess people. I don't know their circumstances. You know, I don't know their situation. I don't know their motivations. So I wouldn't like to judge them, right? For me, that is the other thing with me too. I give everybody a benefit of the doubt. I impute good motives to people, right? So I can't say. The only thing that I can say is that we all need to wake up, right? We all need to wake up, because truly Grand GEDEH is in a bad, and that's, you know, I was saying during the campaign, something, there are things we in Grand GEDEH don't seem to understand. We don't seem to understand that. And even when the thing is right before our eyes, we don't seem to see it. Because I know when I went to Liberia, Nyanue, and they were complaining, oh, you know, there were not a lot of Grand GEDEans in the government at high level and stuff like that. And some people will say, you know, this is, you know, they give the analogy of a soccer game, you know, football game. They say this is the first half. Second half, a lot of our people go in. I think now the second half is almost over, right? Because I saw a list that someone sent to me from Zwedru recently, I think, you know, this week, of appointments that were made. I mean, I look at the list, I didn't recognize any of the names. The thing that I tell our people, and the people in leadership don't understand, or don't seem to understand, maybe they understand it, but it's just not obvious. We don't have much of a leverage. What is our leverage?
Leverage against who?
Let's take CDC, right? Because the president is like a son of Grand GEDEH, right? And I mean, I don't know what he's done in Grand GEDEH, what this government has done in Grand GEDEH since they came to power. I have not seen it. But I'm saying, even for him, if this man is thinking about re-election, you're not going to look to Grand GEDEH. The number is not there. So if he has to please the people from Nima, where the population is almost 500,000 people, if he has to please the people from Bon and from Bassa and Magibi, and look, that's why they're going to look. What is the leverage we have to say, if I don't do this thing for the people of Grand GEDEH, then I will suffer? It's not there. And that was the thing I was telling our people during the election. We need to find a leverage. We there with a small population need to be known for something that people want. That's what gave you the voice. We don't have a voice. I mean, people used to tell me 2017 election, some of my friends I talked to say, Nyanue, you know, we can win the election even if all the people in Grand GEDEH didn't vote for us. That's the truth. That is the truth. So what is the leverage? We don't. And we're not working towards it. Instead, We are destroying each other. That's what we're doing. You know, so the people you named, I'm sure they are concerned with what's happening in Grand GEDEH. I cannot say, you know, and in fact, they might be doing something that you and I may not be aware of. I don't know. But I don't like to second guess people. I wouldn't second guess them.
So then, the comment that's always been attributed to President Weah, where they say that he stated, if the capable are not available, the available are capable. This, you think, is applicable right now to Grand GEDEH?
No, it's
The
not.
reason I'm asking this is this: you have all of these young Nigerians in the diaspora, highly educated, energetic. These are people that if they were home, I'm sure with the knowledge and the ability to be manager, the ability to be administrators, because many of them in the diaspora, that's what they do. They manage and become administrators of these various companies and what have you. But here we are, because of many of us here in the diaspora, we're not home. So if they pick people who we think do not have the ability to manage or to be a administrator of a district or whatever, but they pick them, is it because the capable are not available and that's why the available are not capable?
No, Samson. I don't think that statement holds truth anymore. There are a lot of capable people in Liberia, Grangidians and non-Grangidians. They don't even have to look in the diaspora. There are a lot of capable people in Grand GEDEH. I've interacted with them. There are a lot of young, smart, capable Grangidians that will do excellent job in the county. They are there. It's not a matter of, oh, we can't find good people. There are a lot of good people that are being overlooked, you know, that are not being given consideration for whatever reason. You know, even in Grand GEDEH itself, there are capable Grangidians there. You know, they don't have to come to people in the U.S. to get good people. Yes, people in the U.S., some of them can go home and they will definitely contribute, you know, positively to the county's development. But you can't say, oh, we can't find good people. They're there, and I think the people who have the power to empower those good people know that they are there. They're there. You know, I worked with some of them when I ran, so I know they're there.
So now, what do you think is the, and I'm just asking it, what do you, I'm not too sure if you can even give us that, but what do you think is the solution to our social, economic, and political issue that is coming out of Grand GEDEH, such as this and many other things, where Grangidians will look you in the eyes and decide to do something that perhaps, I'm going to go back to my own view, perhaps that I don't agree with during the election. Is it Grangidians? And I'm sorry to be harsh on this here, but I'll just throw the words out there. Are they deceitful? Is that why they play these kinds of games, pretend to say, because I remember when our good friend Matthew White came back from Grand GEDEH years ago, and he said, the people said they will vote for you, but they don't even look at you during election. So are they they are just inherently deceitful, or it is something that just came about after the war?
No, I don't think our people are deceitful. You know, I think some people might call it that, and I don't think it's uniquely a Grand GEDEH problem. Again, that's what I was saying, you know, in my manuscript, those are some of the questions I try to answer. And that's why I say we need to understand our people. Because something during the election, my brother, when I started, wasn't sure we were going to win. So he was here in the US. I went back home and, you know, we did some work. He came home, you know, he went with me a few places, but he and I really didn't, you know, campaign together. Then he came to Monrovia and he and I drove back to Grand GEDEH. And when we got in Zwedru, he said, William, he said, we're finna winning the election. He said, we're finna winning the election. Because of the crowds that he saw, you know? So then you have to say, with that crowd, why did he not win? And I think that's something people can analyze. One of the lessons that I learned from our people, I think culturally, when you get in any town, people are nice to you. We are nice to strangers. So when you get in a town, it doesn't matter, you know, who you are, they will sing and come greet you. You know, as a stranger coming to town, everybody will come and you know, and be nice to you. I mean, the fact that they say, oh my wow, you the one we carry, I mean, that's an entirely different thing. But the fact that they all come to greet you and to sing and to dance, you know, that's something they did to everybody. So I wouldn't necessarily say they are deceitful. I would think that people who want their vote need to be careful how they interpret their coming and meeting you and singing. Because all of that doesn't necessarily translate into vote. So that's why we have to understand, we have to be able to go beyond that, behind all of that, and see the things that really translate into vote. So I mean, I will not say the deceitful. I mean, that question I remember after 2017, when Bromson didn't win, and he did poorly. You know, someone that was close to the campaign said a similar thing to me. He said, Bill, I'm done with our people. I mean, this is not Grand GEDEH, those are Liberia. He said, I'm done with our people. He said, they're too deceitful. You know? And for me, I think instead of saying they're deceitful, I think we need to understand the psychology. We need to understand their considerations and the things that we do, because that's the only way we'll be able to relate to them. I think we have a certain mindset that we are trying to impose upon our people. And now that our people have the vote, they are repudiating, they are rejecting our psychology. And unless we are able to understand their psychology, we can never get them on our side. That's the challenge we have.
Again, folks, if you're listening, Samson to Liberia Public Radio, my guest this evening, Mr. William Nyanue, and I'll be putting up the number to call here very shortly. But Mr. Nyanue, before we start going in that route, I know, like you correctly said, you're going to be going to Philadelphia this weekend to have a conversation with our brothers and sisters. Now, there's another election that is coming up, a senatorial election. Mr. Marshall Dennis is going to be, his position is going to be pretty much open, and who knows, maybe he might be seeking re-election. If the people were to ask, once again, not the people back home, I mean the diaspora, and even people back home, were to ask you to once again put your hat in the ring, what are some of the considerations that you will take into account? Not necessarily answering the brothers and sisters right away, but what are some of the things you would look for that will give you an indication? Because nothing is guaranteed. But what are some of the things you would look for that will give you an indication that, yes, if I get in, these people will back me like the day before? What are some of the things you're looking for?
Something that's an ongoing conversation with myself, right? That's, you know, every now and then I will have that conversation with my wife, but it's me with myself, and that's a legitimate question. And for me, you know, when I talk to people who are on our team, they say, Mr. Nyanue, you did well. This was your first time you came number 3. And everybody is saying, yeah, you know, and that is supposed to be consolation for me.
Yeah.
That be consolation for me. I should say to myself, yeah, I did well. I mean, I didn't go in the campaign to do well. I went there to win. You know, but they're saying, oh, you know, everybody is saying, oh, you know, that was his first time. And I think you being an engineer, you know that from our training, we are trained to think a certain way, in a logical way, So, I mean, I tell our people. I mean, first when they say that to me, I ask them, "Who told you that?" Or say that what the people are saying about who the people and who you talk to, So suddenly, I will have to be looking for some objective truth that will say to me, you have a reasonable chance of winning, right? Because I think a fool will know that he can't win, and then he's going to participate unless he has other reasons, So certainly I will be looking for indicators, and those are not indicators I want to discuss on your show tonight. I'm going to go to Liberia. This time I'm going to spend a lot of time in Grand GEDEH because, I think I shared with you before, I have a farm there. I got people working on the farm, and I want to move the farm to a certain level this year. I mean, beginning this year and next year. So I will spend a lot of time in Grand GEDEH, and I will have conversations with people. And I think there are different things that I will do, that I will be engaged with, to give me a sense of what the future looks like.
One last question here before we open the line, and even when we open the line, we're still going to be going with a conversation. Considering Liberia in terms of safety, what are you concerned for your safety? Because the fact that you are now going to be engaging, for somebody to have the mindset to say, I need protection. A politician, I need protection, or else I'm not going to, even if the government, which is government, it's not private fund, that if the government decide to give the station, which is a public institution, they're ready to give you the fund to operate, I will block it because you're not protecting me. If those kinds of statements are being made from our own brother, is there reason to be concerned? The fact that you're going to be engaging, not necessarily one-on-one or not directly engaging Mr. Penham, but you will be talking about his statement, his leaked audio. Are you concerned for your safety?
No, Samson, I am not concerned. I mean, obviously, all of us want to be safe. And I like to believe that Liberia and Grand GEDEH are safe for me, right? I mean, I do understand the mindset of some of the people back home, but I think I will be safe. I think I am safe. I mean, there are people that I work with in Liberia. I'm not a noisemaker, right? So I have options. I have options. I have friends, and I'd say I'll be safe. I'll be safe. I'm not concerned about it.
Okay. All right. Well, again, folks, Samson to Labron Pub Radio. My guest this evening, Mr. Nyanue, who is someone. But one last question here before I open the line. Let me just go ahead and start typing it. But let me ask the question, and I can go type the numbers out. The question is, you mentioned earlier about Grand GEDEH's organization here in the diaspora, and you've been in a leadership position for our noble organization before. If you were still in leadership position, and what is happening now comes on your watch, because I know your watch, during the civil crisis and things that you are heavily involved in trying to find way to save Grand GEDEH's life. But that was a different situation. Now it's an issue with us against, or not against, but us and our own brothers and sisters. If you are in leadership, what are some of the things you would do that perhaps would attract these people attention and understand that you're in it for the people and not just for yourself, and you're not saying these things based on jealousy or envious of those people who already have the position? How will you handle things like that?
But that's what I was saying earlier, something. I think the thing that we need to do is that we need to be credible, right? We need to be credible. So
When you say credible, what exactly are you saying?
I am saying you don't want to speak up to criticize people, right? Because if you're going to say, look, I am concerned because of the county, then if somebody does something good for the county, you should commend them. You should speak up and say, this is good for the county, thank you. But if the only time they hear you speak is when somebody does wrong, then you're not credible. Then people can impute bad motives to you. They can say you're jealous or you this or you that. And that's what I'm saying about us here in the diaspora. We cannot just, talk, say, only around election time. We have to talk in season and out of season. We have to say, if the superintendent, like I said in my press release, because I followed the campaign that the young people launched to talk about the equipment that was leased to some group in Sino. And they said they were going to have a protest march on a particular day. And the superintendent called a meeting. He called, as I understand it, he called, the elders, traditional council. He called all the, important groups, representative of the important groups in Grand General. He called the young people and he said, look, y'all give me time and I will bring the equipment back. He said, y'all give me, I think it was a week or so. I don't remember the definite time now. And the young people said, okay. They gave him the time. And by that time, true to his word, he brought the equipment back. So we must commend him for that, because that situation could have gotten so tense and it could have resulted to violence. He handled it properly. He kept his word. So I'm saying we should say thank you to him for doing that, because what he did was good. But then we have to say, now you have to do the rest of it. Tell us why you leased the equipment in the first place. Tell us how much money you got from it. How was the money used? The equipment, from the images I saw online, the equipment is in a terrible, terrible condition. How do we get it to be construction worthy again? Those issues now must be addressed. So I'm saying the way to be credible is be objective in your comments. When something is good, don't bend it. If somebody deserves praise, give them the praise. If they deserve criticism, give them the criticism. And the thing about it now, something that is good in Grand GEDEH is with these radio stations we have, Smart FM, which is community radio station, Tap FM, which is private, and Flash, and then even the Peace Radio in Town. These stations, we have to protect their integrity, because when they air programs, people do call in. So if you are a representative or senator of Grand GEDEH, and then you, Samson told from here, you are on a program on one of the stations in Zwedru, and people are calling in, and everybody is agreeing with what you're saying. The senator is listening too. The representative is listening. If they're not personally listening, their people are listening. So if the sentiment in the county is against you, the senator or the representative, they will be concerned. And that's what I'm saying. Be objective. Know what you're talking about. Get your facts correct. And then the people who are concerned will be forced to do something about the issue. Like they think we're talking about the equipment now. We need to talk about it. We need to. We can't just sweep it under the rug. We need to know how that equipment got to Sano, why. We need to know how much money whoever got from that equipment. And we need to know what happened to that. These questions must be answered. They're not something you just said just to make noise. These are serious issues.
Let's see. Well, again, folks, the number is out there. If you care to give us a call, please do so. We've been out here now going to 2 hours or so. No, 1 hour or so. So, Mr. Nyanue, let's go a little bit. We're only going to spend at least 15 more minutes with you here tonight because I know you're very busy. Man. Let's take this from Grand Jide to the national level, if you don't mind. And then any question that comes your way, and then you're a politician, you're very smart, and you can answer the question the way to get out of whatever position. But so I won't put it past you because even though you're an engineer, but you're a politician now. You're one of them. So so no, but on a very serious note, Mr. Yano, what is happening in Grand Jide, as we all know, is not unique to Grand Jide. The young people that we keep making reference to, say the young people, the young people, the young people. Many of the theft that is happening in government, young people are responsible. Many of the corrupt behaviors, taking money that don't belong to you, young people are responsible. I have yet to see an older person over 60 years old who is working in the government to be paraded out of the temple of justice or even out of the police station or even read about them being suspended or fired because of corrupt behavior. It is all young people. So, Mr. Yano, the young people that we're all crying about. Are we deceiving ourselves to believe that these young people have the ability to lead us? If what they did the same thing in Ellen government. Many of the people that were taking money were young people as well. So is this these young people that were all saying that they need to take control of the government or help to move the government forward, and they're doing these kinds of stuff? Are we deceiving ourselves, or we need to rethink our strategy when it comes to Liberia and the young people?
That's a big question, Samson. You know, I was talking to a former government official, they were official in the Ellen government. I think they may have some kind of role in this current government. And you know, the book that I'm writing, those are some of the questions that I'm really trying to answer. Why is Liberia the way it is? You know, and the argument that I'm making in the book is that I believe that what is missing in Liberia is leadership. That's what I believe that is missing. So in the book, I go into detail about.
Mr. Nyanue, when you say leadership, what specifically, what type of leadership are you referring to? We have leaders in the Senate, we have leaders in the representative, we have leaders in the judiciary, we have leaders in the executive. What specific leadership are you making reference to?
You know,
you're going to say all of them.
No, I mean, obviously, it's all of them, but
excuse me, Mr. Nyanue. Mr. Dawa, can you just hold on, let Mr. Nyanue land, and then we can take your call. That is, if you're calling in to contribute, make your contribution on this platform tonight. Can you hold on 1 minute? Okay. All right, Mr. Nyanue, go ahead. What specific?
You know, I think on this show I talked briefly about this. Something. I was in Liberia when then President Salif went to Ethiopia. And she came back and the press met her at the airport. And they were interviewing her. I mean, I'm not quoting her. But she said something to the effect how impressed she was with Ethiopia. The transformation she said that was happening. I mean, I don't know if it's still happening today, but at that time, that's what she said. And then I think I remember her saying that in Liberia, people are lazy. You know, that was why we're having some of the challenges, we were having. And I was saying to myself, she couldn't have been more wrong. Because Ethiopia is not a country that just came out of the clear blue sky just yesterday. Ethiopia has been there. In fact, Ethiopia was one of those countries in Africa that was never colonized.
You know, we say we are the first republic. The Italian tried. They were never able to subdue the Ethiopians. So they've been there a long time. The transformation that she saw in Ethiopia was due to the leadership of the country. Go to Rwanda. Why is Rwanda the way it is? It's because of the leadership. I mean, I had a Rwandan friend when I was in Liberia, and he was telling me, he said, and I know he was being hyperbolic about it. He said, in Rwanda, if you're lucky, he said, if you're lucky, you can kill someone, you can get away with it. And I know he was just being hyperbolic about it, just to make the point that he was making. He said, but if you don't pay your taxes, you can't get away with it. So the leadership of the country created a culture that transformed the country. In fact, I was just reading the other day now, Rwanda has been referred to as the Singapore of Africa, right? So it's in the leadership, is what is the vision of the leaders and what is their capacity to actualize that vision. That's what it is. I mean, read history. You know, read about China, read about Singapore, read even about the United States. So that's what it is to me. And you're talking about the young people, you know, and what I was going to say about this former government official, he and I were talking, and I was telling him some of the ideas that I was espousing in the book about creating a leadership team. If you read about Singapore, Samson, you will know that Lee Kuan Yew and his friends met in the UK when they were in school.
Right.
And they were so discouraged about what's happening in their country. They said, we got to do something about it. And the group of them went back. And then eventually they got to lead and they transformed Singapore. So I'm telling him this team idea, to have a team of people who have a shared vision, who are committed to a common cause. And then the guy said to me, he said, Bill, he said in Liberia, where you will get the people from? He said, let me tell you now. He said, in this country, the people here, he said, there are people here, they will sell this country without blinking.
I think we're having some audio issues. So
and I talk a little bit about this in the book.
Nyanue is very low.
There are people, when my project was on in Liberia, every now and then, you can hear me?
Yeah, much better.
I am low.
Okay, all right. Okay. Mr. Nyanue, I know he's gone, folks, against Sam. So let's hope that Mr. Nyanue will come back. But Mr. Double, I know you've been listening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Too.
Okay. I know you've been listening. While we're waiting for Mr. Nyanue to re-enter, go ahead. What are some of the things you want to? Okay, Mr. Nyanue is here. So hold on, Mr. Double. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, Mr. Nyanue, go ahead and finish your statement so I can bring Prince Double.
So what I was saying was, when my project was on in Liberia, every now and then I was getting conversation with young people. And this particular young man, smart young man, engineer, and he would say to me, Mr. Nyanue, you're wasting your time. You know, the thing you're talking about is not possible. So when you have young people who are in a system that because of what's happening in the system, they are saying, even being honest is a waste of time, then they will do what they're doing. If you change that system so that the young people will say, if I'm honest, I can still go up, then they will change. You know? So they say, look, you can't be holier than the Pope. So there are people who may not be doing the right thing today, who might do the right thing tomorrow, given a different set of circumstances.
Okay. Mr. Double, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Too.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and make your point. You have a question or comment?
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Hello, Mr. Nyanue.
Hello.
Yeah, I
I just want your take on this. Moshi, the Burkinabes that are entering Grand GEDEH County, and are you going to contest for the senatorial position 2021? And Mr. So, before Mr. Nyanue come in and answer this question, I was in Grand GEDEH in April. I spent 1 week in Grand GEDEH, my first time going into Grand GEDEH County. Even though I called you that night from Total, you laughed on it, but my first time going to Grand GEDEH County,
we don't
Mr.
even know what are you from Grand, because we haven't seen your birth certificate.
I went to
anyway.
Grand GEDEH, I opened a radio station there. So somebody went up from there, went there, opened radio station. You should give me credit. I got a voice of GEDEH. That 1 week, my 60 days in Liberia, went to Grand GEDEH. Now we got voice of GEDEH that is established by Prince Double and his colleagues. So we're doing a very good job in our county. We're going to open the county. And our next step is to get radio station when God gave us long life for us to do that. We are not born in the county and going back there and doing these things. Mr. Toy, you should be very proud of us.
I need to see your birth certificate anyway.
Mr. Nyanue, the Burkinabes, when I was there, the Burkinabe issue was there, and I left, and now they're all over the place. What's your take on the Burkinabe coming in our forests? What's your take on it? And are you going to contest for the 2020 when Marshall Dennis' term expire? Will you contest? Thank you, Mr. To.
Thank you.
On the Burkinabes, that was an issue that I spoke to during the campaign. You know, sometimes, you know, we can see trouble coming, but we don't seem to see it coming. You know, and I think that's the thing with this Burkinabe thing in Grand GEDEH. Because Nima County is bordering La Côte d'Ivoire. The Burkinabes are not there. Right? They're in Grand GEDEH. There's a reason. Or in one of the BI towns, and one of their elders was supportive of the Burkinabes being in the forest. Right? They're helping us. That's what they're saying. So I'm saying, to me, you know, I was telling our people, look, a lot of conflicts that we see in the world today they don't spring up overnight. They take years. And when the seeds are being planted, wise leaders see those seeds and they stop them. And unfortunately for us, it's not being done in Grand GEDEH today. That was why I said during the campaign, had I won, I was going to make the issue, open it up for real. I was going to give it visibility. And then somebody said, but you didn't win, you can still give it visibility. That's true. Well, here's the thing that you know, people have to think about. Most of this Burkinabe involvement is in the BI area. I mean, I understand it's even going all the way now, you know, going towards Tuzon and other places. But if the Burkinabe were in Babu Town, Mantown, or even in Chiameson, which is our clan, I will go home and I will call the elders from our clan and say, we have to do something about this. As a senator, you have jurisdiction over the whole county. So you can speak to any issue in any part of the county. Other than that, then it's a representative from that district who takes on the issue. Right? But I mean, I was telling the people, and I know some of these things, when you say them, some of the concepts are difficult to grasp. I said, you know, look at Israel in the Middle East. Why is that conflict? Because the Israelis were there, they drove them out. They were in the diaspora, in exile for so many years. The Palestinians got there, they settled down. Israel came by and said, no, they land for us. They said, no, you met us here. That's what that conflict is about. So now because even when you follow the time the president went to Grand GEDEH, The president went to a refugee camp in PTP, where the Ivorians have fled to Liberia, where they are. And the president promised he's going to build these low-cost housing for them. They are making farms, so we're going to turn it to a town. What happened 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now? It's a completely different ballgame. So I'm saying the Burkina Faso issue is a very serious issue that people of Grand GEDEH need to take seriously. And that's why those of you who are on these platforms, you should continue to raise this issue, because this is a threat to us. You know, this is a threat to us. I was in Tiantown, and one of the men came to me, he said, Mr. Nyanue, all I know how to do is to make fun that me and my family can eat, but they're taking our forest. Right? So, Mr. Double, I mean, that's what I would say. I think it's a threat to us that we need to take seriously. And those of you who are on the edge, you continue to talk about this issue until we get resolution. About 2023, I think Samson and I had a conversation earlier about this. This is not an issue that I've made a definitive decision about. I think it's something we're still having a conversation about.
All right, one last question, Mr. Nyanue. I think we've been out here now for quite a while. One last question, and then we'll take leave of you. And this has to do with the collaborating political party, and I know you're much involved in politics as usual. The issue with Cummins and Dr. Barkai and the rest of the collaborating political party, I know you've been reading a lot on that as well. What is your take on it in terms of the issue with Bernard Ure letter? What is happening with Senator Dillon and Musability, all of those things with Liberty Party and all that kinds. What is your take on it?
You know, something again, you know, I think a lot of these issues will, you know, my thinking on a lot of these issues, hopefully, you know, when my book comes out, it will, you know, it will say what my thinking is on this issue. My whole thing, you know, because people are telling me, Mr. Nyanue, if you're going to run 2023,
I don't mean to interrupt, but this book issue right now, Mr. Nyanue, you sound like Madame Salive. And of course, this is much fun than what she was doing. When they asked her to give a view on the war crime and issues, she said, "Your way to Mamboka." Oh,
yeah.
I know you remember that. So
Yeah.
when you say your book come out, so give us your view anyhow.
No, I will.
We're still going to purchase a book.
No, I will. I'm just saying, you know, you're not going to get it kind of depth for this brief program that we are having that you will have if you know, whenever the book comes out, when you read it. But, you know, I was saying there are people who will say to me, Mr. Nyanue, if you're going to run 2023, you should join a political party. You know, and here's my take on CPP and everybody and political parties in general. My take is that political parties are meant for people who share the same vision, you know, who have the same common cause. And it doesn't seem to me, from everything that I know, again, because I'm an outsider, I may be wrong, that political associations are not based on common causes, not based on a shared vision. So when you talk about the collaborating party, I don't know what their, you know, what their shared vision is, other than maybe just to win an election. You know, and if you don't have a shared vision that the core members of the team are committed to, unequivocal about, then even if you win, you run into trouble. And I think that was the thing that, you know, Madame Salive, she had read a little book I'm hoping she would talk about. Because what did she do? She brought a lot of people in her government. In fact, I was talking to one of her former ministers who wrote a book. And I read the book and I called her and I said, how well did you know the president before you went into the cabinet? And she said, Mr. Nyanue, I didn't know her that well. Right? So if you just bring a lot of people together after you get power, you'll run into a problem. Because those people have different vision of how they think things should go. So if you're going to have a collaborating party, what is the vision that they share? Because that's what's going to hold them together. You know, even the CDC. I mean, what is the vision that a co-member share about the country, about the issues of the country? And that's why they're having difficulties now, I think. And I'm hoping for the future of multi-party democracy in Liberia, that the CPP will be able to overcome its difficulties so that they remain a viable institution that will be able to give Liberians, you know, the benefit of quality choices, because that's what we need, something. We need when election time comes. Look, if you have 10 people running for an office, one of them will win. And if all of them are unqualified, one of them will become your president. Right? So at election time, we need to have quality choices. We have to say, look, if I pick this one here, they will do a good job. If I pick the other one here, they might do a better job. If we don't have those choices, the country will suffer. So that's why I'm praying and hoping that the CPP will survive, that they will settle all their differences, because some of the things I see online are things that settle in-house, but unfortunately that they are, you know, discussing in the media, which I don't think it augurs well for the group and for Liberia.
Let me ask you one last question, Mr. Nyanue, then we'll ask you for your departing comment. And that is the House of Senate, where you were fighting or trying to be part of. Are you proud of them and whatever they're doing, their output and their connection with this government and everything else in Liberia in terms of democracy? Are you proud of them and their behavior? And you still think that perhaps you want to be part of them?
You know, that's an expression I try to stay away from. You know, I mean, I can say that to my children. I can say to my son or my daughter, I'm proud of you. Because
okay, let me change my language, because I want you to answer that. Are you in line with their view?
No, obviously, there are things that, you know, the Senate or the House or even the government, you know, that they all do that I don't necessarily share, you know, that I think maybe things could be done differently. You know, because something, Liberia's redemption is going to come through the legislature, the executive, those three branches. You know, I mean, you were in this country and you saw what happened in this country. You know, if you haven't read the Lee Kuan Yew book, I encourage you to read it. It's called From Third World to First. Read it. And there's an insightful observation that Lee Kuan Yew made. He said, no matter how good your institutions are, bad leadership will bring harm to their people. It doesn't matter. And that's, you know, and that's some of the issues that I'm discussing. Because when you talk about reforming Liberia, people are saying we need institutional reform, we need structural reform. That's true. But structural reforms by themselves are useless if they don't have drivers, right? They think around people can get and enforce itself. People have to enforce it. So if you don't have the people to enforce it, or they enforce it wrong, it doesn't serve the purpose. And that's what Lee Kuan Yew said. And we can see in this country, the US has strong institutions and they survived. But serious damage was done to those institutions in the last presidency. Serious damage was done. You know, so unless our institute, and the reason, because there were people during the last administration who would say, no, Mr. President, I will not do it. Now it's easy for me to sit down here today and say so, you know, because the thing that I tell people when this issue comes up, if you were in the Liberian legislature, take our own people, for example, you know, and something comes up and they say, I will not do it. Right? And then you lose the job. Where do you go? See, in this country, when they say, no, I can't do it, and they get fired, they go in the private sector. Some of those people go to university, they become professors. Some of them go on the network. Where do you go in Liberia? And that is the constraint we have in the third world that we have in place in Liberia. We are used to living a certain lifestyle that if we were to live our consciences, that we're going to lose that lifestyle. I remember I was at UNSUCCESSFULLY when I graduated from the University of Liberia. The second managing director we got, he was our professor at the university, Francis Braw. In fact, Braw, when he was teaching at University of Liberia, he was UNSUCCESSFULLY's chief engineer. And when I went to UNSUCCESSFULLY, that was the position I got, as the project engineer for UNSUCCESSFULLY. He became the managing director. And then during one of the reshuffles, they fired him. He didn't have a car of his own. They took the car from him. And there were people in UNSUCCESSFULLY, they were talking, oh, did you see Mr. Braw on Broad Street yesterday? He was walking, he was sweating. Nobody wants to go through that. Right? So you got to play a game. You got to play ball. And as long as the leadership doesn't change direction, then the country will suffer. See, that's why people are referring to Rwanda today, because Kagame has changed direction. And the people around him are forced to change direction. And I said it on the show the last time. People who say, oh, the president good or the leader is good, but the people around him, causing the trouble. To me, they are living an illusion. It doesn't happen. Read Maxwell, John Maxwell book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Maxwell said, you attract what you are. You attract what you are. There's no way something, if, I don't drink, I got friends who drink, but to be buddy and to be going out every night, going to a nightclub and stuff like that, how is that going to happen? So you attract people that are like you. If you are somebody who doesn't like corruption, you will not have corrupt people around you. It will not work. So I'm saying legislature, the Senate, the House, judiciary, and the executive, if the leadership of those institutions don't set the benchmark, don't set the tune, then the country will suffer.
I think we're going to be in it for a long time, because I just don't see it coming in our lifetime. That's for sure. But anyhow, Lee Kwanuralto's one of the statements that was made about him, and many of the stuff that I've been reading as well, is that he decided to punish those who, whether you're a friend or not, if you're caught and found guilty of corruption, whether be a friend or not, you're going to jail. And so, according to the story, once people started going to jail, they started advising each other. It doesn't matter whether you're a friend, you better not do that, because you do that, he will disgrace you. So those are kinds of stuff. But let me ask you the last one. Every time I talk to you, I always say one last question. Because you keep your answer provoke more thoughts, which is, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But let me ask you this. I would say two more questions on I will use one stone to kill two birds. First one, Madam Ellen Sirleaf came into the government when we had just got out of war. Everything in the country was destroyed, pretty much starting all over, like people would say. Do you think she missed the mark of not trying to somehow put in place what the Singapore leaders that you correctly stated what they did, to put in place structure, guardrails, against the ills of society. I think somebody's calling. Let me call the. Let's take this person and then I'll come back to my question. Samson told Liberia Public Radio, you'll be the last caller here. Mr. Nyanue is here. You have a question or comment from Mr. Nyanue?
Hello,
Yes.
Mr. To, how you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Who is this and where you're calling from?
Well, this is Senator Sir Joseph.
Oh, Senator Sir Joseph. Good evening, sir. Wow.
How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. This is the senator of Moserado County. Thank you for joining us. Do you have a comment or question? Mr. Nyanue is our guest here this evening.
Well, I just called to greet my dad, and you know, I live with Mr. Nyanue, and he just struck some points that these are things he told me when I was a little boy coming up. He's a good man, and I think the people of Grand GEDEH made something. I always told him that. And this is why when we always talk, I always just remain silent. I don't say much. But he's somebody that who have done a lot for the people of Grand GEDEH. Yeah, they made something, you know.
Wow.
But he's a man of wisdom. He's a man of principle. He'd want to see changes in people's life. Me being a senator today is based on the training I get for him. When you hear him talking about smoking drugs, every time he see me when I was growing up, every time he see me somewhere I'm not supposed to be, I'm in trouble. Yeah. So I think these are the kind of leaders I agree that we need in our country as well. So I think the people of Grand GEDEH need him, and I just want to continue to encourage him. The political process, climate in Grand GEDEH is kind of a little bit different. I don't know, like it's not based on what results are, but again, I want to encourage him. You know, not just about he serving, wanting to serve in the Senate, but at least he will be a good voice for the people of Grand GEDEH County. I can assure the people that, yeah. I saw the press statement that he even made, and I think it's somebody that the people can depend on. So, Mr. Tom, maybe one day I will attend your show.
That was just exactly what I was about ready to ask you, because I know you're. But thank you very much. As you were speaking, you started tearing us in motion. To have somebody, before we talk about you appearing here, I want to thank you very much. To have a senator who is not afraid to say, I got most of my training from your friend. It's a little bit emotional, but I want to thank you for saying that, because this is a man we all know, and this is a man that will continue to support, even here in our community and even back home, because of what you just stated. He doesn't look at young people and let them go astray, whether they're his own or not. And that's exactly what you just stated here. But to be a senator of the Republic of Liberia and come up a public platform like this and say these things, that speak a lot about your character, by the way, because then I think some of the things that we have been reading and hearing about you, perhaps it's not what it is. But then again, this is Liberia, you know. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Nyanue.
Before you take that, look, I grew up from a family that couldn't afford the one meal a day. And all of the time I spent to eat in Ghana, in New Georgia, before even the civil crisis came, it was in that house, the Nyanue house. My one bowl of rice was there every day as a young man coming up.
I was counted as one of the sons of the house. So people will write those things. It's politics, but people don't know, the background which people come from. People will say things because of their own political wish, but they don't know people. Do you know that Mr. Nyanue was the one that was paying my school fees? Yeah.
Wow.
So he know me. Well, he know me, and he would tell you a little bit of me and what have you, coming up and what have you. But what I can say in the nutshell is that he's a good man, and I think the people of Grand GEDEH missed something, and I hold the people of Grand GEDEH in the diaspora responsible for not playing the role. I live together in the refugee camp. Look, what I knew, even when I was in the refugee camp, because I was so connected to the people of Grand GEDEH because of Mr. Nyanue, even when I lived in Waterloo, I was committed and still friendly with them. Look, like the chairman, Jared Ballard, Alfonso, as all of these people.
Yes.
I take them as big brothers. You understand?
Yes.
So, based on the fact of that aspect of me came up from the fact of where my relationship with Mr. Nyanue. So I counted myself as a crown man. That's why I came from Lofa and Mokisi. But based on the benefit I received from somebody who knew me from nowhere and took me from nothing and helped me and brought me up. The way he wanted me to grow is how he wanted his children to grow up. And it's that innovation that I have in me today. So I think that people missed something, and I just want to encourage him that don't just focus on the issue of senatorial thing. I think the people need your voice. They need you around. The Grand GEDEH Association used to be, I learned, one of the most powerful organizations, but where is the Grand GEDEH Association now? I think you people need some unity, to be able to make decisions, to call back home and give instruction to the people, those kind of things. I think it will be great. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. So this number here, do you care if we call you sometime to try to make it? But before that, could you please just stay with us 1 or 2 seconds here? Let me take from Mr. Nyanue. I don't know even if he wants to respond to that, but after that, will you please just stick around here? Then I'll ask you 1 or 2 questions. Nothing politics, just politics will come later. But I want to just briefly chat with you here, Mr. Nyanue. I will not be doing fair to say you and I have not discussed him before. I know your connection with him. But what do you make of him coming here publicly on this platform to say everything he is based on your contribution, training? That's I'm not surprised because I know who you are. But for a sitting senator of the Republic of Liberia to come out publicly and make these kinds of specific statement of his upbringing that you're talking just like your own, you didn't say anything but to make sure that he's successful. You have anything comment on that at all?
I just want to say thank you to the senator. He's been very gracious with his comments. I was in Zwedru, and a group of young people came to see me at the house. And one of them said, Mr. Nyanue, he brought my platform. He brought my profile. I think it was the profile. And then he said, how come you did all of these things and then we didn't know? And like the senators, it's in my life, Samson, the things that I do, I try to be true to Scripture. Scripture says, when Christ said to his disciples, he said the Pharisees, when they do their good deeds, they go stand in the street and they publicize their good deeds. He said, but when you do your good deeds, he said, do them in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. That's how my life goes. You know, I know when my mother was alive, you know, sometimes we'll go to wakekeeping and somebody died, we'll go there. And then, you know, we'll sit there for a while. I'm ready to leave. Then I'll go with her to the bereaved family. Whatever little money I have, I take and give it to them. And then when we leave, she'll say, your friends, they can't do like that. You say, well, let everybody know how much money you're giving them. And I said, no, that's not how I do it, man. People who need the money, they know how much I give them. You know, so I'm happy that the senator is gracious enough to say the things that he said tonight. Those of you who read my first book, you will see in there, I said that when we ran from the house to go to our Southern Baptist missionary, we left one young man in the house. It was the senator we left there. He was the one that left there. And I told him, when the rebels come and you don't feel secure, leave. And he left before they burned the house. But he was the one that I left in the house. And, you know, but I don't want political capital out of these things. God had me in a position where I could help, and I helped. You know, I was telling you, when I went to Zwedru, I met with the Mandingo caucus, and the Mandingo young people were asking me, you know, whether if I win, you know, I will pay attention to them. And I was telling them, there's a young man who graduated from Clark University last year. He's Mandingo, Kefara, Nick Kefara Connor. My friend Jan Boye and I, the one that got him here, you know, to go to Clark University. And you talk to him tonight, he will give you the same testimony that the senator is giving. So I'm happy that the senator happened to be in the U.S. at this time when we are doing the program. So he's here. Samson, you can have him on your program. I'm sure you'll be more than happy to come.
I hope so. Okay. Well, I don't even see the reason of asking the question that I was going to ask. Because the senator have just brought me down to square zero. So I'm not even going to ask that question. Let's leave politics out of it for now. But before we take leave of you, Mr. Nyanue, and I hope that the senator will be able to answer my call, because I would really like to talk to him on different issues. You know, the senator, not because he's here, but you know, he's one of those in Liberia that help to make connect the community with roads and stuff. And I too have contacted him before. I'd really like to help him to do most of the community road that he get himself involved with. Because the way I see it, not that it's wrong, but I want to participate in it, and hopefully we can do better. But Mr. Nyanue, what is your parting statement here before we take leave of you tonight?
I just want to again thank you, first of all, for having me on your show. The conversations, you know, we have, to me, are just satisfying, because they talk about the issues in Liberia. And I am hopeful, Samson, I am really hopeful that in my lifetime, I will see Liberia turn the corner. You know, I am 64 years old. So, you know, I still got a few years left, and I'm praying that God will see us, you know, in Liberia turn the corner. There is, for me, you know, in my church, when I decided to go to Liberia the first time, you know, because when I wrote that first book, a lot of people in the church bought copies of the book, so they know our whole story. And there was a lady in the church who said, but Bill, why do you want to go back? You know, she said, why you want to go back? You sure you want to go back over there? You know, and for me, the thing that I say, something, is that God didn't make a mistake by making me a Liberian. He didn't make a mistake by making me a Ghanaian. That's where he wanted me to be. And for me, I like to think that Liberia can be like any other country in the world. That Nigeria can be like any other country or even better in Liberia. To me, that what gives me satisfaction. That I want a situation where when people ask you, they say, where are you from? You say, oh, I'm from Liberia. You say, oh, Liberia? Like they do now to Rwandese. Where are you from? Rwanda. Oh, Rwanda. Ghana is moving in that direction. Right? So for me, it's not the car or the house. Yeah, I have a nice house in Monrovia, and that house is big because like the senator was saying, I have a lot of them, and my vision at that time was, I want all these children when they're in the house for each of them to have their own bedroom. So it's a big house. Now all my children have grown and nobody there, but the house is dead. But for me, the thing is, if you represent a country, if you represent a county, you must know that you are in friendly competition with other counties and other countries. That's what should preoccupy you. Because somebody said, I think it was Malcolm X, that they will not respect African Americans until Africa can put its house in order. People look behind you, and what they see is what makes them respect you. If behind you is a mess, if your house is a mess, people come to your house, I don't care how much money you got or how much education you have, and your house is a mess, they got no respect for you. So I am really hoping that there will be a group of Liberians. I used that word the last time that I was here, that somebody will have an epiphany. Epiphany just means that, it's like you have a cloth over your head. So you can see, or maybe you're wearing glasses, and your glasses, they fog, they finish fogging up. So you can see clearly. And then all of a sudden, they bring the lens cleaner and they clean your glasses, and everything just becomes clear. That's what an epiphany is. You just wake up to a new reality. That's what I'm praying for Liberia for. That people who are in leadership today will have an epiphany. That is not enough for you to just have money. It's your country that God has entrusted to you at this time. Your time will end. And God's going to hold you accountable. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, it's immaterial. There's a song that says, you don't believe in death, but you will die.
Hold on, Mr. Nyanue. Samson to Liberian Public Radio. What's your name? Where you're calling for?
Yeah, I'm Wilton Ketter calling from Connecticut. Thank you, Mr. Tour, and to your guests. I'm inspired hearing him speak and some of the things that he has done in Liberia. These are the kind of leaders we're looking for in our country. One of the things that I would encourage Mr. Nyanue is not to only look in the political direction, but also look, in the education area where he can educate our people. The reason our people make the kind of choices or the decision they make to put people in places that will make decisions for us is the lack of education. He being a Ghanaian, if I hate to even limit it to Ghanaian, but he being a Liberian and educated Liberian, and it is his responsibility to take us from where we are as a nation, providing the expertise, the knowledge, so that when our people making decisions, when they go to the poll, they will make decisions based on informed information and education, knowing the fact that those people that they are putting either in the presidency or in the House of legislature or and representative will change the life through development of all sorts. So I'm appealing to you, and I'm a big fan of you just by listening to this program. I'm not a big fan of Mr. Tour because we go out every night on the show. I'm a die-hard supporter of the government in Liberia, but just by listening to you, we need people like you, Mr. Nyanue. I got a cousin who lives in Indiana, a very educated, successful man, but he left Indiana, and moved to Liberia. He's in Nima County, educating the people of Nima County. He's not into politics. I think we should all focus on that because our country, and we can't blame the people for what they did. They were denied for so long. And thank God that we have one man who, I mean, your life. I didn't listen to like 30 minutes of the program, but when Sir Joseph came, before he came out, listening to you, and when Senator Joseph came on and he said the good things about you, you know, it speaks volume. So I just like to say thank you for your work. I will try to, if Mr. Tool can put some of the books that you wrote up here on his page, I'll go and look for it and see it. I mean, what are some of the things that you wrote so we can be informed and, you know, and help to educate our people back home. The lack of knowledge, our people perish, and what is happening in our country today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The fact that you're a seditious does not negate you joining me from time to time. You can be my fan.
No, I'm not a sedition. I'm not a sedition, but I support this president and his government.
Well, the fact
my reason is simple.
But the fact that you support this government, this president, please don't stay away. You know, usually when I come out, I always say that I will criticize, but I will do so with responsibility and respect. And I think
no, I don't stay away from the show. I come on the show. That's why I listen to you. But I stay for you.
Okay. Well, that's what we do. That's what. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nyanue. I want to thank you again tonight for giving us this wonderful platform again and giving us your ideas and it's wonderful. I also want to thank the senator for calling in here. Hopefully we can connect with him and let's have a one-on-one conversation. Mr. Senator, this is what we do here on Liberia Public, not only because Mr. Nyanue is our brother, but whenever you come out here, believe me, the respect is there. We will be questioning you, but we will do so with respect and responsibility. We're not going to have you here and have people coming in and saying, no, it's not going to happen. Well, like, for example, I'm here with Mr. Nyanue right now, Mr. Soul, Fonso Soul, who is out there right now, he's watching. And if anybody was to make any kinds of comment that is not of upliftment to this platform, he's waiting, right? Anybody make comment that not in line with what we do here, you block you right away. So whenever he's on, I'm here watching as well. So basically, Senator, if you're listening, please, if you don't mind, try and contact us to see if you can be our guest here sometime and just have a conversation. And you guys came to this position not through the back door. You were duly elected. So there's nothing here to say that you will do or say that is in secret. You're duly elected. You're representing people. Whether we disagree with you on the view, on whatever ideas it is, doesn't matter. You were duly elected. If we think we can defeat you, we will go through the ballot box. But not to come out here or get these platforms and try to degrade people because we don't agree with them. This is not what we do here on Liberia Public Radio. So please, Senator, if you're listening, give us a call or we will try to contact you. I hope the number that you call on here, we can reach you. Mr. Nyanue, once again, I want to thank you very much. You know, as like you correctly stated, and this is what my mom always say as well. When I used to play drum in Town and play drum for girls and things like that, we go through, sent for me from Town to go to different villages and play. And sometimes I will refuse to wash my clothes until time come when people sitting there, wash my clothes, boo, 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 for it to get. So my mom would tell me, you can't behave like that. Because if you think your bad behavior, whatever behavior you have, you put it on the fender people use to fan rice. If you put it on the fender, when you go to a village or different places, sooner or later, your true self will come up. And this is what's being demonstrated here tonight. To have a senator to call in and say Granadians miss out, which is a true statement. And he also said that he's not even from Granada. But the mere fact that you looked at him and saw something in him and decided to cultivate those whatever character he had, to give it water so it can grow. I'm sure sometimes you sit down, you watch him, the way he behaves, things he does in Liberia as a senator, you too feel proud. But I want to thank you. It's not about Sal Joseph or Honorable Sal Joseph tonight. I want to thank you very much. Please don't be a stranger to us. Please come on this and give us the knowledge as usual. We want to thank you very much. And please stay safe out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Samson.
Okay. Again, folks, Samson to LeBron Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again. And I want to thank all of you again for listening. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. And this going weekend, the liberal progressive. Yes, that's who I am. I'm a liberal. Nobody, Alfonso not here, so I am the liberal. There's no question about it. I'm not going to hide my belief. I don't conservative myself. We don't pull that much. We don't pull that much. I'm a liberal, so my views are skewed towards liberalism. That's all it is. And folks, again, I want to thank you very much. Mr. So is going to be hosting Honorable Cummings come Sunday. It's going to be an interesting show. It's going to be an interesting, because I also believe that Honorable Cummings, from all indication and all the things that I've been reading, I think he's also a little bit conservative. And so the liberal, I hope they give the liberal chance to ask the conservative question. Simple as that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And as you know, on this platform, folks, we come out here. We're not here to degrade. We build up people. Because the thing that I always say, and I will continue to say, today you sit as an opposition, and therefore you want to curse the people that are in power. Why, if tomorrow you come to power, will you then want people to curse you? If you don't respect your leader today, and you get in power tomorrow, do you want people to respect you? No, it don't happen like that. You know, because you're in power now, you used to curse the people. Then when you're in power, then you say they will not curse you. It don't happen like that. It don't happen like that. So the best thing you can do as an individual, be true to yourself. Be true to your fellow man. You never know where you're going to meet them. God is wonderful. We're all here for a reason. Even if we don't agree with the politician or the leadership we have, we should criticize, but we must do so with respect and responsibility. Because your time might come tomorrow. If you give the respect now, respect will come back to you. It can't fail. It go out, it come back. And in fact, you give it more, you get more in return. Once again, this is Samson to LeBron Public Radio. I've been out here and I've been running my mouth for quite a while. Mr. So will be here on Sunday. It's going to be a wonderful, a juicy one, a wonderful show. As you know, Mr. So doesn't pull punches. Even he's very respectful. Something happened somewhere. Oh, somebody say, okay. Even very respectful, but he will be true in question that he asks. He will be fair in question that he asks. Before I leave, I want to make one comment. You say you want leadership position. Don't ever. I am calling you. I just say that when you take it whatever way you want. You say you want to be president then. You say you want to be in leadership position. You want somebody to be president and you all come around them. But you'll have some nasty behavior in you. You'll have some nasty behavior in you. You ain't get leadership position yet. Then when somebody says something because you don't like it, you want people to stay away from that person. Vindictive. You even get position, yo. Oh, I mean, you know that you see that's yeah. I remember your son, yo. You can you know that you can smell CDC in somebody. When you see somebody walking down the street on Broad Street, you can tell whether he's sedition or not. I mean, you know that CDC, you know that sedition. So what if he's sedition? What make you think a sedition do not have the ability to be truthful? You're doing things here. One day I will call you one by one. I will call your name one by one because this is ridiculous. Because the person is sedition, so what? Don't you think sedition got blood in there? You want to stay? Man, I don't think calling you. Okay, let me take the one last call. Samson told LeBron Public Radio, I'm on my ranch here. What's on your mind? Just make it brief, please. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
So, Mr. Tool, you say I should remain on the line. You want to talk to me?
Oh, that is Senator. Oh, I beg you, Senator. Let me change my voice right away. Well, folks, Senator, let me hold on. Let me change my voice right away. Oh my goodness, Mr. Senator, Honorable, good evening, oh. This is the liberal. No, Senator, thank you very much. What you say here tonight about our brother is true, but to come from people of your stature, that's just make it more pronounced, and I really appreciate. Truthfulness, you can't hide it. Somebody who is truthful, you can't hide it, and that's you just demonstrated here tonight. But I was hoping that one day before you leave to go back to Liberia, that you will be my guest here.
Yeah, Mr. Tool have been Alfonso have been behind me to arrange that.
Oh, Mr. So.
Yeah, he and I've been
Mr.
talking.
So that troublemaker, Mr. So that troublemaker, that conservative, he's conservative. I'm a liberal. So come to the liberal platform.
That man be better than from what I look here. We'll take it easy.
I try to gas it, but they say no, that they are big brother, but I don't do that. Okay. No, that's okay. But Senator, if you don't mind, come on the platform sometime and just help to educate us. Because there's so many.
I will definitely come on let's say Tuesday.
Okay.
Because I will be I will start Monday, but Monday I'll be traveling from Atlanta going to Colorado. Then Tuesday, I think evening I may be free. Then I will come up with you guys.
Okay. All right. I think.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we will make a specific.
So as all of the questions.
Yes.
Answer all of the questions.
I've
been following you. Just know that.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. now the liberal gonna have to be very careful now. No, Senator, I really do appreciate. I don't agree with many of the things you guys do from time to time, but that doesn't mean that you're not doing something good for our people. For example, you particularly, I've seen your video where you go and connect community, put roads down and things like that. And those are things that we expect for our leaders, things to do. But then we appreciate it. But I know it's getting late on your end over there, so you're very, very busy. I saw another video the other day where you went to a warehouse full of medicine and trying to. And before you came, let me just confess right now. Before you came, I made a prediction that if Senator Sir Joseph gets here, he would take something from here back because he's connected with the Liberian diaspora. And this is what I've always said. Once you get here and talk to them, they will direct you. And almost I just can talk, and he will take things back home. And that's exactly what is happening. So
of course, in fact, I'm already overloaded.
Yep.
There is an arrangement of 5 fire trucks.
Look at that.
And we have ambulances.
Look at that.
We have the Chamber of Commerce in Washington, Kansas City, want to go to Liberia. I just from a meeting with a team coming from Vancouver that want to do agriculture in Liberia.
Look at that.
And today I was taking at the state capital to have some meetings there.
Okay.
So there are a lot of opportunities and things that we're taking back home to our people.
Appreciate it.
So 500,000 have been appropriated to complete the vocational school that I've been trying to complete to do the construction.
God is great.
So a lot will be going back home.
Thank you. I know, and these are not all just for you alone. These are people for Liberia, for our brothers and sisters, and we appreciate that. Truly appreciate that. But we hope to have you on. And I hope Mr. So arranges so he doesn't push me aside because as a liberal, he sometimes tried to overpower me with his conservative ideas. Yeah, so he and I were on it. So, Mr. Senator, Honorable
Okay.
Senator, when you come in on Tuesday, we will be ready and have a conversation with you as well. But thank
No
you
problem.
for calling back. We appreciate it, sir.
No problem. Thank you, Bibar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, folks, Samson to LeBron Public Radio. Honorable Jefferson Kochi recognized me. Honorable Sir Joseph recognized me. My man, you're ever me. You're ever me, my man. I beg you, you can't touch me. Samson to no, folks. As I was saying, on a very serious note, before I take leave of you tonight, you cannot, and I will say this. Whether you're from my Liberty Party, I'm a Liberty Party USA. Let me say that again. But whether you're from Liberty Party, you can't say somebody look like sedition, somebody sound like sedition, somebody behave like sedition. Since when you become God? What make you think? In as much I don't like to associate myself with CDC, but that doesn't mean they are not human beings. You can't do that. And like I said, if you're not careful, I will call you on me one day. Oh, you stop it. Sedition, I don't agree with many of the things they say and do, but they are human beings. They are our brothers and sisters. You can't say you don't want to. I don't want you want to go around there because they sound like CDC. They sound like sedition. You even get fasting. You take power. You take power. Then you trying to say somebody is low that sedition. That's how you will rule us. Not the top now. I mean, some of you that the people are talking about, they're not at the top. But they're getting around there. So I just want to make this point clear. I'm a liberal. So if I get Honorable Cummings here, I will ask him liberal question. If I'm lucky to get Dr. Weir here, I will ask him liberal question. I'm not going to hide myself, but I will do so with respect because I want people to respect me. So I'm not going to come here because I don't agree with it and I start using thing. You don't do that. It's a warning, strong warning from the liberal progressive. Stop it. It's not good. You say you're bringing change. That a change you're bringing. So if somebody smell like sedition or look like sedition or sound like sedition, that person you no longer want to be around there. What if that person have a brilliant idea that will be beneficial to Nigeria? You say because you see this idea, so you don't want it. Then what kind of leader you're trying to put together? Folks, this is Samson to LeBron Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again tonight. And Madam K, good evening to you as well. Thank you for participating on LeBron Public Radio. Thank you very much. I will say good night to all of you. But what is tomorrow? Today is Friday, isn't it? Yeah. Do I have to go to work tomorrow? Let me think. That's my father company. If I want to go to work, I go to work. If I want to go to work, I better stop it before somebody grab my video, take it to the big shot. So listen, look at him, man. Look what he's saying. And call me in the office morning and say, "Oh, you say you want to come to work because you think if I find somewhere else to go, where you going? Grant you that? I beg you, they will whoop me." No, folks, I'm just having fun. Thanks to Mr. Nyanue again tonight, as usual, on a very serious note. Whenever Mr. Nyanue, you engage Mr. Nyanue with conversation, you have to prepare yourself because he tells you as it is, but not only that, he explained the explanation effect of his comments, of his ideas. They're so heavy. And that I'm glad to have him tonight. And I'm also glad to be on LeBron Public Radio. Mr. So will be here Sunday with honorable comments. There'll be a lot of questions. But rest assured, while Mr. So is on, you see anything here? See how big it is? You see it? I'll be monitoring anybody you come here and write anything. You see the finger? Go and call it you and go not call it. All I have to do is I block you, you're gone. You come here. When Mr. Comey is here, any of these government officials we're going to have on this platform, you can criticize. You can make some serious suggestions or even disagreement. And many of you are educated. This is what hurt me. You are educated, but then you want to use Marcos. What kind of education is that? You want to use language that you don't want people to use on you. And you consider that political division? No. That kind of thing don't fly on LPR. So the finger is here. You come here and you say something, and I read what you say, and not in line with our policy. We block you. You don't want to watch us? Don't. You don't have to. Even if we have one viewer, we have no viewer, will still come on. It's a schedule. Mr. So made this schedule and set it up. Whether people watch me or know what I will come on, because I'm committed to that schedule. You understand what I'm saying? So my coming on does not connect to how many viewers that I have. It's a commitment to the platform. So when I have one or nobody, I will still come on. And everything that I'm going to be saying, I've write them down. I can't change them. Of course, I change them from time to time. If I find out my view are going conservative view, then I change right away. Y'all saw that the other night. You're like, bro, you're not easy to. The way y'all chew me the other night, why? I'm gonna speak my mind because y'all disagree with me. They meant from total power. What? Man. But anyway, on a very serious note, please join us on Sunday. But let's be respectful to our guests. It's a very serious stuff. You have these people to explain to you what they intend to do for your country or what they are doing for your country. You can pose a beautiful question, and every time, in fact, Mr. So will post your question on the dashboard, and it's going to show. But he can't post a question that is insulting. And one of the things you have to understand, in order to be somebody to insult, that means you're limited. I can't just guess. So please join us on Sunday. Mr. Comey will be here, and then the conversation will be live. Will be live there as well. Okay. Thank you, and I will say good night to all of you. Please stay safe. The disease is still out there. Stay safe. We love you, and we want you to stay safe. Because here's the thing about staying safe. If you stay safe, those of us that are selfish, you stay safe. You get money, you work, you get money, you send money to your people back home. That's why I keep praying for you. I will pray God will bless you so you can continue to support your brother and sister and back home as well. And you see that being selfish. Yeah. Okay. Samson told LeBron probably I'll just do the one song and I'll say good night to all of you. Now, this song it's a crown dialect, but let me interpret a little bit of this song. This song is very interesting that I'm talking all of these things. And I'm getting ready to play a song that also helped me to interpret that. This song, the guy said, there's a guy, he lives in a village. He's a hunter, young man, but God gave him the gift of hunting. So, but his hunting, because of his ability to kill a lot of animals in the bush. So one day, there's an old man in the town. Went to him. Apparently, the old man had a dream, and all the animals came to the old man, complained to him. They better tell him, man, keep killing our children now. We don't like it. So the old man went to this guy. Called Boy. Said, Boy, today don't go hunting. Today is not the time for hunting. Don't go. Boy said, oh, okay, old man. I hear you, yeah. I will now go. To our Boy. He said, okay, I hear you, old man. As soon as the old man turned him back, he took a gun and he took a dog and started. As soon as they left the village, the first thing, score, the dog grabbed that one Look, that he broke the net. Put it in your basket. Keep walking, killing animal as he was going. So at the end of the day, he came home with deer and everything else. He came home in the evening time. The animal there, they line up like this. He said, they think are coming the town people. We haven't seen them before. The animal, the gorilla that were in front. He started speaking big language. He said, we here for where? We've been telling you all day, man, always going to bush and killing our children. We're taking him today. Who able to stand in front of animal? You see all the fully talk on that. You see all the deer there. You see all the groundhog there. You see porcupine there. All in line. They say they're coming for the guy. You able to stand before them? The guy said, why? They said, when we went to him, they went straight to his house. Said, we'll come for you. We'll kill you today. The man said, I beg you. They said, no. You've been killing our children. We tell you, leave our children, and you don't listen. He said, but how, if I don't kill your children, how will we eat? They said, okay, we'll eat you too. So when they started running, they say he wanted to run. The animal then said, you think you can run past us? He took off. They went after him. They started crying. My people, y'all come for me. Eh? The animal, y'all will stay in the town. Y'all want to kill the animal, I can't divide it piece. Y'all will sit down here for people to kill me. Y'all come for me. Eh? They grabbed the guy, tied him up, put him in the Kenya, taking him. Listen to the man. Toagbe.
I say, Toagbe, oh, Toagbe, be yo, Nemo.
Okay, so that is the music, and the end, the story, the good story. If you don't listen to your mind, you will end up like that to Abe, because they used to tell you the animal then you killing the tomorrow. The animal then you killing the tomorrow. They will come. He believe it. They come for him. They take him. In this world, you be careful. You be careful. People are here. We're all here as brothers and sisters. We must respect each other. This is Samson Toll signing off. So thank you very much. Good night, folks.
in Jimmy, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. So if